Good evening and welcome to our program, Career Talks. I'm your host, Carolina Bangan from Mentors League. Tonight, we are so fortunate to have with us our first ever guest in the name of Mr. Jonathan El Salviejo. And I'm going to give you his very wonderful background, okay? Jonathan actually graduated from Ateneo de Manila University with a course of communication technology, major in management. But not only that, he took another course, which is nursing in Baguio City. Okay, he started his corporate life by working with the entertainment industry at a network station in the Philippines. And then later, the business processing outsourcing industry took a big role in his development as a person and as a leader. Right now, he is working as a recruitment manager that handles the talent acquisition of this certain company. And take note that Nathan also is the first Filipino to be certified as a member of the International Association of Interviewers in Chicago, United States, and also shares his expertise and does resource speaking on the following: personality development, conflict management, 21st century employability skills, leadership and good governance, career development, and international standard for interviewers. With all of these achievements, he remains to be well grounded. He values within his team that the right investment of a leader and a company is through employees' learning and development. It creates a learning culture in an organization where every individual is motivated to learn new skills and acquire new learning for their careers. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me give you Mr. Jonathan El Salviejo. Hello, Nathan. Good evening.
Hi, good evening.
How are you?
I'm okay. I'm doing great, actually.
That's great. We are so thankful that you have agreed to this invitation to be interviewed because we received this increase from our viewers and they really wanted this topic for tonight. So, our topic for tonight is how to excel in the workplace today. Let me repeat that: how to excel in the workplace today. So, Nathan, please tell us about your professional experience and how did you go from one course to another? And yes, tell us about your experience.
Okay, so my first work experience, I started with ABS-CBN. So I handled different shows. If you're familiar with Umagang Kay Ganda and Going Balilit, so I've handled the production team of that show. And then after a couple of months, I got the chance to work for the business processing outsourcing companies. So I started working in Makati. And then after that, I went to other companies. So I moved from one company to another. And then I got the chance to be promoted. So with the position that I have now, I started from the lowest position, from the staff level, and then I really walked up the ladder with all the sacrifices that I've had. I was able to get the position to where I am now, and that is not possible without, well, the things that I've learned, the skills that I was able to develop, and I was blessed actually that I got this position to where I am now. So currently, I'm doing talent acquisition. I handle sourcing. I look for candidates for a certain company. At the same time, I do recruitment. I also do interviews, final interviews, behavioral interviews, and some technical interviews that will basically help sustain the needs of our clients.
Wow, this is really interesting because our viewers can really get this input from someone who's in HR, an HR manager actually. So
Mhm.
Nathan, with this one, how do you define excellence in terms of career? Because you said you started working from the bottom and then you made your way up to the ladder. So how do you define it?
All right. Actually, career excellence for me is putting your best foot forward all the time. So I would always remember my mentors. They would always encourage me to do better every day. Sometimes we tend to like have questions. Sometimes we question ourselves on what our capabilities will be. But I never got tired of doing things that will make myself better. So ang nangyayari sa akin that time is when I was still in my staff position, I keep on asking questions. I'm a person who's really fond of asking questions. There are things that I really don't know. And I know in myself that there are still things that I need to know. So a person should really have the quality or the value wherein you should not be the person who seem to know everything, because we really value change. We really value learning experiences. So in that way, I'm a person who asks questions. So parati akong nagtatanong. So every time I ask questions, I learn. So it's an additional learning for me. Aside from that, I open myself in, well, sometimes I also commit mistakes, but I open myself in developing more, and accepting criticisms and feedback coming from my leaders. Because I know in myself, when I was still at my staff level, that sooner or later I will also become a leader of my own. So in that way, it's a training ground for me to develop everything that I need to develop within myself, not only technical skills but also my attitude towards work.
Wow. Reminds me of an author, Alvin Toffler, when he said, in effect, that those people who would succeed right now are those who are willing to learn and learn and relearn. And from the answer that you gave me, it only proved to say that it's really true.
Yes.
Yeah. And right now, sa mga nagpe-prepare, no, those who are in college,
Yes. And it's worth it, actually.
correct. And those who are out, who would be out of college soon, sometimes the problem is they can't be employed for so many reasons. Maybe they don't understand the job market right now. They got the wrong course and they're not prepared. So please introduce us to the workplace today. What were the changes that took place?
Okay. Actually, that's my favorite topic every time I am invited by different schools to do speaking, to share my expertise when in terms of career development. And most of my speaking engagement, it's more of graduating students, or let's say college students who are about to enter in the workplace. And just to describe you the workplace now, when in terms of students, the common problem nowadays is the skills gap and the mismatch. So if we say skills gap, they have this skills that they have in themselves, but then their work is different from what they're like passionate about. Kunyari gusto nila ang pagkanta, kung gusto nila ng pagsayaw. But then yung work nila is more of clerical, it's more of admin. So that's a proof that there is a skills gap in the workplace.
Mm-mm.
And mismatch is, for example, you have this kind of course, but you're performing a different task. So that is a mismatch. And in the workplace now, there are a lot of mismatch and skills gap, and that's something that we're trying to develop nowadays in the workplace. And one thing more, in the workplace, it's very diverse.
Mm-mm.
As you can see nowadays, we have different generation in our workplace. In every company, it's a combination of millennials. We also have baby boomers. We also have people from the generation X.
Correct. Yeah.
And one thing that everyone should develop is the interpersonal skill,
Mm-mm.
because you as a person and being with these people for like every day in different generation, it's a challenge actually. The only thing that you need to do is really to develop your interpersonal skill, and how are you going to work with them properly.
If you're not flexible enough, right, it would be hard for you
Yes.
working across this generation, right? And soon,
Yes.
soon enough, you will have the Gen Y, Gen Z, the digital native. So,
Gen Z,
yeah.
yes. And they're calling it like the people who are, I think why they call it wise generation, because they're gonna be the people who will be asking why and why and why.
Okay, okay. So
I think I
basically,
read it from one article.
I don't know if you're familiar with the book "Promote Yourself" by Don Chopel. It's really a great book introducing us to uh, the workplace today, yung talagang ngayon dominated by the millennials, ibang set skills nila, iba rin ang kanilang attitude. And then you have
Yes,
boomers and, ikaw ba, Gen, ano ka pa? Gen X,
I'm part of the millennials actually.
millennial na, Gen X pa. O, amin
Yes,
na rin ako.
I am part of the millennials, and I would say that it's a good training ground for me, that I work with different generation. I was honed by people in different generation.
Nice. Well, that's really great. And I think that a lot of young people should understand this. Otherwise, they will not be prepared with all the things that would happen, no, when they work with different people. Kapag hindi nila
Yes.
sabi mga interpersonal skills, that's very important. Now, Nathan,
Mm-hmm.
please tell us about the role of HR, because oftentimes what happens is there's a job applicant, and this is HR is the go-to department in the hiring process now. But along the
Mm-hmm.
way, when he gets employed, nakakalimutan niya na meron palang HR, because it's underutilized, because the employees do not really know kung ano pa yung ibang key functions or roles ng HR sa employee development and engagement. So please tell us about the key functions of HR.
Actually, human resource, we are very much focused on, first is we get people. We call it sourcing. So we get people, we look for candidates who will be part of our company. So that's sourcing. After that, we do interviews. So that's recruitment. So after we hire that person, we will be focusing now on training these people. So that's one of the roles of HR. Sometimes they have this negative connotation na pag pinatawag ka sa HR, kasalanan agad siya.
Yes.
Well, in fact, it should not be. It should not be. HR is actually a department wherein they will really help you as an employee.
Mm-mm.
Meaning, it's not only a place where you will be punished, wherein you will be given memos, wherein you will be given sanctions, but actually HR is actually a department where they can help you as a person, to the point that they can even help you change lives, meaning they can provide you organizational development, they can provide you training development, career development. That's why HR has really a big function in every organization, and it should be properly utilized by our employees.
Okay, so if I feel stuck right now, let's say I'm
Mm-mm.
employed in the company for the last 10 years, pero I feel na parang I'm not really progressing and I'm not happy with my work. Definitely, I should go to HR, right? For
Yes.
discuss these things with them
Mm-hmm.
para matulungan, right? Kasi minsan
Yes.
ang nangyayari, makakausap mo na lang yung HR kapag pa-exit ka na sa company and walang
Yes.
naging intervention, right?
Yes, and actually, if you are currently employed and you're really hungry of trainings, it's best if you talk to your HR personnel, like employees of the HR. You have to approach them and have the initiative to tell them that I think I need this kind of training. I think I need to develop myself with this one, and try to open yourself. Try to open yourself because HR is really a good venue for you to open everything.
That's great. That's great to know that if you have training and developmental needs, the department to go to is really the HR.
Yes.
It's very important to know that. Now, let's go straight to the top skills. Alam mo, yung tinatawag natin na kapag job interview, some people are cut for the job, others, di ba, I think you experience this one na parang when you open a job position, the company opens a job position, and then the application starts coming in, right? Tapos,
Mm.
pile up, let's say, hundreds and thousands of resumes, pero only one or two would make the cut. Tell us
just
about.
to give you just to give you as well as statistics,
Mhm.
this came from an international statistics wherein in 1,000 applicants, actually there are only three or four applicants who will pass out of 1,000.
Can you repeat that, Nathan? Because I think it's.
From 1,000 of candidates, from
Mhm.
the pre-screening itself, there are only four or three candidates who will get hired for a certain position.
Wow, a slim chance to get hired, right?
Yes. So
So,
that's really the percentage that we have.
although it's going to be on another topic in our program, but give us a gist of the resume. How important is it for someone who would like to apply for a certain position in a company? How important is it that you really have an outstanding resume? Because when I saw yours, if I were the employer, I would hire you immediately, Nathan, with all of the things that I have here. So what makes a resume stand out from the rest?
Actually, you should follow the international standard. We have what we call international standard in making the resume. So in that international standard of creating the resume, it's really targeted,
Mhm.
meaning go direct to the point. You should not include anything that are not part of your profile. Example, focus on your achievements.
Mm-hmm.
Focus on the trainings that you've attended. That is, because sometimes when we create our resume, we put trainings, but sometimes it's not applicable to the position we're applying. And we
Okay.
have to make sure that if we put trainings and seminars, we have to make sure that we have proper documents to support it, like certificates or even attendance records. And in that way as well, when in terms of your achievements, you have to make sure what is a major contribution to the organization, meaning what's the biggest impact that you have done to serve your company or your previous, let's say, if you're a fresh graduate,
Mm-hmm.
what have you done in your internship that was able to help your company
Wow.
where you had your internship. And when in terms of creating that as well, you just have to make it very simple but direct. I think that's the best advice. Simple but very direct, to the point that if you have a work experience, you have to put there what are the things that you were able to contribute when in terms of net revenues of the organization. Aside from that, people development. Aside from that, your leadership.
Very good. Gone were the days na kailangan tatlo, limang pages ng resume, right? So you have to be concise, direct, as you
Just
said.
to give you also an idea, for a fresh graduate, it should only, an international standard of a resume, it should only consist of one page for fresh graduates. One long coupon band.
Wow, that's something new that I learned tonight.
Yes.
The international standard for
Yes.
writing resume.
For writing a resume.
Wow,
For a fresh graduate, it should only consist of one
just
page.
one page.
Yes.
Wow. And I hope our listeners are really did really get that, because it's important that you stand above the rest, right? So now, Nathan, let's talk about, you made it past the selection in terms of resume, and you made it past the interview, okay? Because we're going to tackle that in another segment. But right now, tell us about the top technical skills that any employee, given any position that they're applying for, should have.
All right. When in terms of technical skills, actually, the most important thing, if you're applying for something corporate, it's very important that you have basic computer skills.
Okay.
You should know how to operate the computer. You should know how to do Microsoft Offices. Basic, like your Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, how to do PowerPoint in order for you, if your leader will ask you to do presentations, you should know formulas of the Microsoft Excel.
Mm-hmm.
You should know how to create documents, simple things like that. And I think computer skill, when in terms of technical skill, computer skill is really the most important thing if you're applying for something corporate.
That's great. Other skills that you can recommend? The hard skills that
Other skills, technical skills now will depend on the position you're applying for. Like, for example, if you're from the medical field and you're applying for a medical profession or in a hospital, let's say, the technical skills will be, actually, what I tell people about it is that technical skills should actually be learned in school.
okay.
Technical skills should be learned in school because soft skills should be learned during internships. That's why when we do OJTs, if there are students who would enroll themselves or who would apply for OJTs, I would always encourage them to, you apply for your OJT not because you will practice the things that you've learned in school. Like 50% is a practice of it, but the reason why you're having your internship is actually you should know how it feels to become an employee.
Okay.
Like, for example, a student who's applying for a certain position in a company, like an internship, if before pala absent sila, pala late sila sa school, I think it's one way for them to develop their soft skill actually is through their internship.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And if there are cases wherein, for example, uh, internships when in terms of, because I'm a nurse by profession, so we have internships in the hospital, yung pag-injection, yung mga yon, those are technical skills that we really need to
Yes.
learn. Aside from that, people who are psychology students, let's say, who wants to be part of the industrial, how do you call that in psychology again? Industry wherein they want to do interviews.
Yeah.
So one of their technical skills will be interviewing skills. And for them to learn that is that they need to know proper techniques on how to do it in school, and the application will basically be in the workplace. But it's more important if they've developed more of their soft skills, meaning interpersonal skills.
Yes. And
Mm-hmm.
yes, I'm learning a lot. That's why I'm taking notes because these are very good points to remember. And I hope that our listeners, our viewers, are also taking down notes. The importance of knowing what the hard skills are, the soft skills are, and
Mm-hmm.
continuously improving on everything. Now, I like what you said that the hard skills should be learned in school. Of course, when you also work, then if there are another set of hard skills that you need to learn, then you need to learn. But the soft skills will really take you, propel your growth in
Mm-hmm.
a given company. Now, um, Nathan, what will be your advice to to students right now in college, preparing? In a few years' time, they will be graduating. They will be really working. Welcome reality. Here's the workforce. How can they now
Mm-hmm.
prepare themselves before that time comes?
Okay. What I always say during my career talks, they're very lucky that they have this kind of mediums already.
Mm-mm.
They have this kind of mediums, meaning they can attend to seminars, they can invite speakers to share their expertise. Well, in fact, before, we don't have that. Even this one, we don't have webinars before.
Yes.
Yes, there was a time in my life wherein I applied and I don't have an idea on how to answer job interviews actually.
Pero right now, di ba?
And
Just, you know how to
yes,
type the question, you get it right. If you know just
you
how to
can actually even Google it now. You can
correct.
even Google now the sample questions of a job interview. Before, it's really hard. You don't know how to answer job interviews. So I think the best advice that I can give them is your time is the best time for them to develop and be better. And they should start changing themselves to be better as early as now. Because I would always tell this to people. It's more of people development. It's better to experience something and you have regrets about it
Mm-hmm.
than having regrets without even experiencing it at all.
Oh yes.
So mas mabuti na lang na magsisi ka kasi nagawa mo siya, at mas hindi okay pag nagsisisi ka pero you haven't tried anything yet. So
Yeah.
I think as early as now, they need to develop everything. Example, if during their time wherein they're still students, they don't value punctuality, they should expect that when they will be interviewed, one of the questions will be, how is your attendance during your school days?
Oh my. There you go.
Yes. Second one is that we will be asking about internships. And if we will be asking them about what are the things that you've learned in your internship, most of the students nowadays, they would answer, I've done admin works, I've done clerical works, I've done photocopying, I've done transfer of documents. But those are actually technical skills, and those are the things that we're not looking for.
Yes. Yes.
What if a student would answer, what if an applicant or a student would answer, what did you learn from your internship? Tapos ang sasabihin niya sa amin sir, you know what? Sa trabaho pala, meron palang masusungit na boss, meron din palang mababait. But one thing that I've learned is I was able to handle it properly.
Wow.
Ganun pala siya during my internship. Meron pa yung, it's better as well if you would also share experiences, learning experiences wherein, sir, alam mo, napagalitan ako minsan dun sa internship ko, but it's a learning experience for me. Pag napagalitan ka pala, you have to take it professionally at work and you should not take it personally. So can you imagine that? A student would be telling that during a job interview is something, right?
Yes.
And that will make you really different from other applicants. So instead of focusing on your achievements, actually achievements, like if you're an honor student,
Mm-hmm.
actually it's a bonus point. It's not actually an edge, but it's only a bonus point for you. Like for example, if you're cum laude, there,
Mm-hmm.
not all achievers are actually has the guarantee to pass the job interview, because what we're really looking for during job interviews is more of the soft skills. If we say soft skills, it's more of the character, the values, and the attitude of a person, of an applicant.
Yeah. So it has been said that attitude determines altitude, right? So
Yes.
if they fail to develop these things as young as they are, mahirap na yung parang patch up, no, band-aid remedy lang. It should have been really
Yes.
prepared a long time ago. So thank you for that advice to our college students. But what will be your advice to those who are currently employed? No? Ano ang
Oh,
dapat nagbabantay ba sila ngayon? What should they be doing? Should they feel panicky right now na pretty soon we will be dominated by the millennials who have fresher ideas, malalaos na kami. So how can they keep up with the game and level up their game if possible?
okay. Just to give you also an idea, nowadays, if you try to see the competition nowadays, siguro during the time of the Gen Y, I'm sorry, tama ba ako, Gen Y?
My generation's Gen X. Yes.
Gen Y or Gen X?
Gen X ako.
Gen X.
Your
For
Gen
example, during yung mga generation ng Gen X, di ba pag pipila ka before, pag
Mm.
pipila ka sa job interview, ang tinitignan madalas yan, school.
Yes.
Oh, that was during your time. Millennials now, they don't focus on school, they don't focus on achievements. It's more of soft skill. So can you imagine, for example, a baby boomer or a Gen X will be applying together with the millennial, and the millennial has a good attitude towards work. Then it means that they get the chance, they get the higher chance of being hired. So my advice for these people who wants to go back to the workplace, I think they need to search more, review more on what is every company really looking for. And in every companies now, we're really focusing on the vision, mission, and values of the organization. And in every company who has that vision, mission, and values, we align them to an individual's vision, mission, and values too. Because it's best for us to hire someone who has the same vision, who practice the same values, and who has the passion to do the different missions as well. So I think the best advice that I can give them as well is you already have your technical skills. You already have your technical skills, meaning you're already expert of your position. You can already be an expert of your position. But you should not forget that your technical skills are the only things that we're looking for in every interview. They have to keep in mind that attitude is also very important. Example, reasons why they resign.
Yes. Let's go to that.
We're very much focused on that. What are the reasons why you resigned from your previous job? And if, for example, it took time for you to be out from work, you
Mm-hmm.
have to explain us. As interviewers, you have to explain us why. Well, what took you so long to look for a job? What did you do? We need someone who's very productive, someone who is creative, someone who is resourceful when in terms of work with work experiences. And one advice that I can give you, um, if you have chance of if you have like plans in the future to reapply for an organization, you better make sure that you have a good record from your previous job.
Importante yan, ano? Because some people
Yes.
burn companies along the way, no? They would burn their reputation thinking that, okay lang, it's a short stint in this company, it would matter a lot to me. But actually,
No, actually, no.
no.
Commitment is very important to us. Someone who can really stay long in a company is what we're really looking for. And there are three things that we're really looking for. I share it all the time. Sa mga with experience, three C's ang hinahanap namin dyan. Three C's. So
Oh,
we
what?
have what we call comprehension, we
Mhm.
have commitment, and we have consistency. We need someone who can comprehend with the job
Mhm.
despite of having that work experience or expertise that you have. You
Mhm.
really need to be committed.
Okay.
How committed are you with your previous job, and how committed are you with the next job that you're gonna apply for? And third one is consistency. Marami kasi ngayon ang with experience na nahuhuli namin during background checking. During job interviews, they seem to be good. They seem to to share all the good things about their companies. When we do background checking, that's the time na nahuhuli namin na may bad experience sila from their previous job. And consistency is very important during job interviews.
And that would affect them big time, right?
Yes, basically. Basically, if you lie during a job interview, you're not telling the truth. Actually, mas mahirap ang may with experience
Totoo.
because we're really gonna go into details.
Bad things will backfire eventually.
Yes.
Correct. And so,
Even if you don't include it in your resume, there are ways already nowadays in the background checking to
oh,
check.
I was about to ask you that. Can these things be traced, even if you hide it from?
Yes.
Oh no! Oh no!
Yes. We have good companies nowadays. We even have background check companies who do background checking, wherein sometimes you don't need anymore to pass NBI because their records are very concrete.
And you have to be watchful with this one. We are in a small world actually. Technology has taken.
Mm-mm.
Kaya madali na talaga tayong matrack sa mga ginagawa natin. Wow, can you believe it? 30 minutes flew by so quickly. Almost 8
Oh
minutes
yeah.
now. Wow. But yeah, before we close this, Nathan, I'd like to thank you once again. Part of what we do in Mentors League is really to gather professionals from different fields of expertise. That's why we have you tonight, who's an expert in the HR, no, human resource, and um, the role of having mentors. It's really important because personally, I've been mentored by a lot of great people, and what can you say about being mentored also by those who came before you? How did they affect you as a person and working towards your career goals?
Okay. Before we end this one, it's my pleasure to be invited. And it's a blessing for me actually. I always tell it like it's a blessing for me that people meet for a reason. It's a blessing to meet people every day. And despite of having like maybe bad weather, any scenarios, as long as you meet people, it's a blessing. Having mentors actually, it helped me big time. It helped me big time. They guided me to be better. Like for example, just to give you a very specific experience, before my temper is really like I can't really control my temper when in terms of handling work challenges. But because of my mentors, I learned how to be calm. I learned how to be calm. And I would always stay grounded to the point that they would always remind me that a leader should be someone who's selfless. A leader should be the person who should be the most understanding in the company. Because leaders are born to be like that. Leaders are not born to just get mad, but leaders are born to serve, actually. Leaders are born to serve. So, with the mentors I've had, with all my experiences, I would say not only my mentors, but I also read books, actually. I also read books. And with those things that I've learned from all my mentors, it's something that I'm giving back also.
Mm-mm.
Because before, during my staff level, I have mentors. Even now, even if I'm a leader now, I myself, like, I still listen to my mentors. And when I say giving back, now that I am a young leader, I also have staff under me. I also give back to the point that I do coaching sessions monthly. I do mentorship. I track their performances. I
Mm-mm.
help them personally to the point that a leader should not just focus on the work itself, but a good leader, should also understand what's going on in their lives,
Yes.
like the lives of their staff. And well, work is work. Being professional is a matter of working so hard, dealing with people at work. But sometimes at work, we really need to balance it. Kaya tayo meron tinatawag na work-life balance.
Yes.
Dun sa life, dun pumapasok yung personal. In yung balance, dun pumapasok ang leaders. They are the ones responsible on how to balance the work and life. And as a leader, you should understand what your staff are like going through. Like for example, pag may problema sila sa love life, sa pamilya,
Don't shut
you
them.
as a leader should have an open ear. Actually, you should have an open ear. You should not close your doors in telling your staff, hindi, problema mo yan sa pamilya, wag mo i-share sa akin. Sa bahay mo lang yan dapat ano yan. But you as a leader, sabi nga nila, leader is, you should be a serving leader all the time. meaning learn to listen, learn to understand, because you cannot mentor someone if you don't know where they're coming from, and you cannot coach someone if you don't know what their problems are. So I think it's best for you to a mentor and a leader should always have the attitude of understanding and accepting others' differences. And it's one way for you to, share it. Because even staff, even young people, they can be leaders of their own. And leadership should be passed on to different people as well. Hindi dahil manager ka, leader, parang hindi dahil manager ka, leader ka na agad. Parang ganon. Like, hindi dahil staff ka, hindi ka pwede maging leader. Hindi dahil manager ka, ikaw lang pwede maging leader. It's not that. Actually, everyone can be leaders of their own. And leadership is something that everyone should practice. And it's not something that they should only practice, but it is something that should be shared also.
Wow, great words of inspiration.
Mm-mm.
Really, what I'm saying from this interview is that eventually, as you work your way up in whatever career that you do, you have to be a leader, because being a leader, you spread your influence, right?
Yes.
There should be an influence. Hindi lang palaging trabaho, there should be work balance. I've learned a lot tonight, Nathan. There's so many things, being inquisitive. The other thing is there's no stopping you right now from learning things. You can have the actual mentor, no? But you can have also
Mm.
mentors in terms of reading books, which you can see from my background. I really love reading books. Just
Yeah, you have a lot of books too.
Parents, and I have the novels to the right. I have the medyo seryosong books at the back. We have to balance things. And we understood the hard skills versus soft skills. We understood the difference, how you define the career excellence. No, napakaganda na sinabi mo. You shared your own story. We learned about the international standard for resume, writing resume for fresh graduates. Alam ko marami nakapag-take down notes niyan. And we really I really learned a lot about being the perfect package, being the perfect candidate for any job position. And I think it's not just about the work, but hindi lang talaga work eh. Dapat personal mo nandoon talaga. It's a holistic approach when you go to work. You deliver, you present yourself, the whole package of you. So this has been a very fruitful night, a very productive
Mm.
one, because we have the presence of Mr. Jonathan Salviejo, the recruitment manager of a talent acquisition company here in the Philippines. And we're so thankful and hoping, Nathan, that in the future, because I know that they will request more from you. And if time would allow, we can have you back. We can
Yes, it's my pleasure. Specifically in doing a resume, I want to share the details of how to really make a resume, the
Yeah,
international
I will
standard.
not bother you this holiday season. Let's just enjoy Christmas and New Year. And then I'll go back
Yes.
to haunt you again. But thank you so much. We learned how to excel in the workplace today. And let's give a big round of applause. Thank you, Nathan. I would like to give you a big round of applause for the things that I learned. Thank you so much. And more,
It's my pleasure.
yes, more power, more success to your career. Good night.
It's my pleasure, and Merry Christmas to all and Happy New Year.
Yeah, Merry Christmas. Thank you.
Thank you.